Hey yo, what's good? It's your boy Mixtape Moth, and today I'm going to hit y'all with a review of the new Rigz album entitled Wake Ups. Let's get to it. All right, so Rigz is a rapper coming out of Rochester, New York, who is a member of the collective known as Da Cloth. Now, they are an underrated crew that makes very grimy, traditional New York hip hop. Rigz is probably the most well-known member of Da Cloth. He has been dropping EPs and mixtapes over the course of the last 4 years. In 2019, he put out the very dope collaborative project with Mooch entitled The Only Way Out, which was produced by Big Ghost Ltd. And last year, he released his solo debut, Substance Abuse, which was highly praised in the underground circles. So if you aren't familiar with Rigz's music, I would tell you that his voice sounds slightly similar to Ali Vegas. Now, of course, Rigz has his own style, no doubt about it, but I do get somewhat of an Ali Vegas vibe from his overall sound. The thing with Rigz is that he can give you the right amount of balance between braggadocio and thoughtfulness. When he's not giving out level-headed advice like a street life coach, he's talking down to whack rappers who lack his skill set. But this new project, Wake Ups, contains 14 tracks and lasts approximately 43 minutes in length. I believe the bulk of the production is handled by Chuck, the producer. The cover art is inspired by the design of the 1986 Fleer basketball cards, which is a pretty iconic year for NBA cards. There were a lot of legends that emerged from this time, most notably Jordan. But with that being said, let me go ahead and hit y'all with this track by track breakdown. The opener, Coconut Water, finds Rigz flexing his lyrical dexterity over a lively and dense beat. He raps, "Y'all too typical, I'm surgical with a syllable and climb like I had a mic cord, not an umbilical." This is a dope opening track with a punchy beat where Rigz can be seen as having his foot on the necks of the competition. Track 2, Wipe the Timbs Off, is a gritty anthem featuring the Cloth members Mooch, Times Change, and Illinois. Here we get a suspenseful instrumental that's lo-fi and dirty. Mooch sets it off explosively with his high-pitched vocals and frenetic energy. He has a dope verse with some intricate wordplay. Rigz makes a point of it to clown the struggling rappers with lines like, "Y'all should get a Grammy for consecutive song skipping," and "Dudes turn 30, only got a record in beefs." Overall, this is an aggressive anthem where they talk about stomping out the opposition with a pair of construction Timbs. It doesn't get more old school New York than that. On track 3, Trophies, the tempo slows down a bit. Here we have a piano beat with a melancholy vocal sample. This finds Rigz bending some corners with an all eyes on me kind of demeanor. I guess you could say he's on his Pac shit. He is joined by Rob Gates, who brings some gutter-like energy to this somber and mellow production. You can always count on Rob Gates to turn things up and to sound super menacing on wax. All in all, this was a well-produced, smoother track that's filled with grimy and confident bars. Track 4, Show You, contains another female vocal harmony, but this one is a little eerier and the beat is a little more forceful too. On this one, Rigz can be seen as boasting while also dropping a life gem or two. He has some lines targeting the sucker MCs, but then he offers up the insightful jewel, "Pride will have you doing foolish shit that will feed you. Can't see it because the ego ain't a lens that you can see through." Next on The Predicament, Rigz and Ransom talk about surviving the trenches over a dreary soul beat. And I think Ransom has the jewel of all jewels with his following bar. "Try to be poised and keep an even temper. Most emotions can get you murdered. Please remember." And that can be super hard to keep an even temper, especially if someone's trying you. It's like all those self-control strategies you learn just go out the window. Here, Rigz raps about the predicament he's in, which is to breathe life into his raps when he's surrounded by nothing but death. Track 6 is Sabrino Skit. Now, this skit offers up a little bit of humor as Mooch and Rigz are posted inside the Spanish food spot. On this skit, Mooch can be seen as this wild and loud individual. He's kind of giving off some Joe Pesci vibes, whereas Riggs is the more chill and laid back guy who has to apologize for his reckless friend. This made me think about how Da Cloth have some decent skits on their projects. There aren't a lot of newer artists today who I feel make dope skits, but Da Cloth have some good ones. After this is the mellow, hustling anthem, Get Yours. This finds Riggs dropping some hustle and motivate kind of bars over a twinkling piano instrumental. I feel Riggs's flow sounds buttery smooth over this style of production. He wisely states, get a gut feeling, see if it's true. The ones you would die for might be the reason you do. It's definitely some shit to think about. Then on track 8, Let Me, Riggs is joined by Rob Gates once again. The two talk about betrayal over a hard-hitting instrumental with a moody electric guitar riff. The question Rob Gates asks is, how you kill son? You used to eat with him. They both do a good job of capturing that tension that consumes the block right after this kind of betrayal happens. Track 9, Beach Chairs in Marcy, has Riggs and Mooch reflecting on their success. This is set to a very polished and rich boom bap beat. There's some Rockefeller Records references woven into Riggs's bars. He raps, throw up the rock like the Power 3. I'm more Biggs than Jay. I be Dame when I gotta be. And as long as I want, I'ma be here. Got a calm aura like Jay-Z in a beach chair. So Riggs is really tapping into that refined, hustling aesthetic on this one. Right after, on Misled, Riggs talks about dealing with betrayal once more. He is joined by Times Change from Da Cloth. We get a piano backbeat with a female vocal sample. It sounded a bit classic rock inspired. So I like the production, but the theme of disloyalty was starting to get a bit repetitive for me. On track 11, No Mercy Rule, we have a continuation of this rock sample production sound. It feels a little Dipset-esque, although this one is a little more lively than the previous instrumental. Riggs is joined by Da Cloth members Mav and Symph, who provide decent verses, but it was Riggs's bars who stood out the most to me. He said, fans listen, critics come to compare. Do you like Styles did Diddy? Hit your ass with a chair. Track 12, Swole Hearted, finds Riggs revisiting this theme of being taken advantage of. This is set to a gloomy guitar instrumental that has an overcast quality. Riggs talks about being let down by the people he cared for the most. As he reminds us, sometimes you get a cold heart from having a swole heart. This one is dope, even though the subject matter is a little depressing. The second to last track is Throw It Away. This is a really good cautionary tale where Riggs gives out some game to the youth over a dusty soul beat. Here, Riggs is trying to school a youngin' to stay on the right path, but he doesn't listen and ends up getting killed. He tried to tell him not to throw his life away over jealous people and haters who have nothing to lose but would rather see you bleed. And this is really hard advice to follow, because when we as people are disrespected, the natural inclination is to respond back with some sort of aggression, either verbal or physical. But when you do respond emotionally, especially in a street environment where the stakes are pretty high, then you run the risk of throwing it all away. Then the album wraps up with Grateful on top of a dusty soul sample. Riggs talks about being thankful that he is still here to tell his story, because he could have easily been dead or in jail. Overall, I give this project a rating of a strong 3.5 to 4 mics. I'm leaning closer to a 4. I feel this was another dope project from Riggs that showcases his strength as a solo artist. He had quite a few intelligent streetwise bars and observational lyrics that made you think, moments where the light bulb went off. And these more reflective bars were contrasted nicely with his boastful content. I feel his guest features, mainly Mooch and Rob Gates, added needed energy and aggression to the project, as Riggs can sometimes come across vocally as being too cool for school. His flow at times can be slightly drowsy, although his vivid lyricism keeps things from being monotonous. Beat-wise, I feel this project was very well produced. There was somewhat of a melancholy undertone to the instrumental, so I feel that I could have used perhaps one more up-tempo track to offset some of the dreary ones, but That's just my opinion. At the end of the day, this was another strong release from Rigz. Hopefully, the Cloth members will get some more recognition in the coming months and year because they are a very slept on crew. My favorite tracks include Wipe the Thames Off, Show You, The Predicament, Get Yours, Beach Chairs and Marcy, No Mercy Rule, and Throw It Away. Let me know what you thought about this album in the comment section below. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, is peace and blessings. Rigz, wake ups, one.